Yeah, with this stuff with the movies now, it's like why is the image that a woman is strong if she behaves like a man?
Right.
I mean, what the fuck?
Exactly.
You want to make a movie about how strong women are? Call it 9 months.
You just took that. I loved him. I thought it was great. Woo.
And we're back.
Pay attention, everybody.
Man.
Okay, so now it's me. All right, so
And she's still standing.
we're back. Okay, so the
Like
movie
Elton John.
I'm so sad. Okay, so the movie I picked was The Handmaiden. It's from 2016. And George, are you
Trailer.
gonna play that for us?
You can tell whether the movie
Okay.
makers think it's going to be good
So
or bad.
I picked this movie. It's a South Korean psychological thriller directed by obviously Park Chan-wook. The film was inspired by a 2002 novel, Fingersmith, by a Welsh writer, Sarah Waters. But the novel was set in Victorian era, and the movie was changed from Victorian era Britain to Korea under Japanese colonial rule. The film won the 71st BAFTA awards for the non-English category.
Movie?
Yeah. The film has 3 parts. There is a Japanese heiress, Hideko. She lives with her uncle, Kuzuki. He helped the Japanese take over the country and was given a gold mine in exchange. He has a rare book collection and is obsessed with them and sells forgeries to get money to buy more of them. A con man posing as Count, Fujiwara, plans to seduce Lady Hideko and marry her. He hires a pickpocket, Suk-hee, to be the handmaiden to Hideko and help convince her that she should marry him. There are many twists and turns in the story. I'm not going to get too much into the story because if I do, it'll give it away, and there's a lot of twists and turns, so I don't want to. But let me tell you, I was riveted the whole time. Like, what? Right? Right?
You were so?
The cinematography, I mean, this movie is a work of art. The cinematography, Chung Chun-hoon, is stunning. The director slowly reveals the narrative in a very seductive way. This is what I thought right off. There's a scene where the handmaiden is bathing her mistress. And that reminds me of like Water for Chocolate when she's describing a recipe. There's 3 of my favorite movies. This movie reminded me of 3 of my favorite movies. Like Water for Chocolate was the first one. And then because it tells a story from 3 different perspectives, it reminded me of Hero, another favorite movie. And then because of things that are in the movie that I really don't want to say, it reminded me of Pan's Labyrinth because it really was a male, the old, I call male and female, but it's not really male and female.
Masculine and feminine
It's
energy.
like yin and yang, or it's like the feminine way of thinking about something and the masculine way of thinking about something. And in this movie, they collide. And actually cause a great deal of destruction to Hideko because obviously she's a woman. But so that
It's a hard movie to describe.
It really is. It's really kind of deep.
Yeah.
That's what it's really deep,
man. It's
but it's
really
also really entertaining. It's
Yeah,
like
it is.
because it is a mystery, which I like. That's what attracted me to the movie. First off, that it was a mystery. It's like kind of like, hey, what's going on? You know, who these people are. You know, first of all, you think it's so beautifully in Japan and whatever it is, and these guys are crooks.
All of them.
All of them are
It's an
crooks.
equality movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's looking at the same scene from different perspectives, and it leaves you wondering what point of view is correct. And you must pay attention. You cannot stop paying attention. That's the thing about the story, and that's how it sucks you in. It's very slow, it's very beautiful, and it just keeps sucking you in. The only criticism I would have had of the movie is probably the last scene. I did not think it was, if I was the director, and I don't know who the director is, if it's a man or a woman.
It's
That's a man,
It's a
right?
man.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Park Chan-wook.
Yes, I understand why he did it, but for me, he made his point within the first few seconds of that scene. I didn't need the whole thing, but I felt like that was kind of like male indulgence.
And
if you
I will
like.
say this: I thought it was almost a repeat of a scene we'd already seen. So
Say that
Yes.
again.
Absolutely.
yeah, that we had already sort of had
Yes,
that
yes,
scene.
Right.
yes.
It was unnecessary.
It was male
point.
indulgence, and I forgive it because he did so many other great things. But yes,
Well, I couldn't say I forgive it. I forget it. I mean, a lot of the stuff I didn't remember. It was it's not. I mean, I like the movie. But it's not one that just like sort of carries you along, and you either get pulled into it or you don't.
True.
The one thing I really liked was the performance of the handmaiden herself, because once you sort of see, I'm not even sure if you've got your first big reveal at this point, but she just seems to take such a joy in what she's doing. She's having fun. Whatever it is that's going on,
where
she
it
is
got
having fun.
Like Water for Chocolate. It was very
All Blake's
arty
fun.
the way she was
I noticed that.
describing
Oh, yes.
her mistress
It's a theme
and
here.
bathing her. It was like I was like, wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, the male character, I couldn't get into that character at all. Of course,
You're talking about the Count?
The macho
Sure.
guy.
Okay.
You know, and
yeah,
that's
let's
where-
call him the Count. What the hell?
Count the
I
money.
got to make
that-
sure the
but
Japanese
that's-
guy, right?
That's kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
As opposed to who?
Her uncle. So
I don't really remember.
It was
who-
not-
whose uncle?
the uncle
It
had
was
the
count.
books.
It was count the money.
Let's call
Yeah,
him
like
the
I said, it
Count.
was a very difficult story for me to follow. Although I got the major twists, they were pretty easy to follow. But and also lots of nice shots of naked women.
Yeah,
I
you don't
didn't
see
hate
that much
that.
anymore.
I didn't hate that. I didn't hate that. Those were two beautiful women.
You'd be lying if you said you didn't like it.
But it was. I mean, the only other movie of his I've seen is Old Boy, and I saw his version and the Spike Lee remake of it, which, in a way, I kind of like better.
Really?
no, I didn't.
I did
didn't
because the reason I did is because of Charlton Copley's performance in it, and I thought he was. I understood what the term "old boy" meant in a way that I didn't before that. I said, "Oh, I get it," yeah. But it was nothing against this fellow's version, because it was also a wonderful movie. But it just maybe what it was is it explained something to me in non-Asian terms.
Yes, exactly.
So
That's
I think
exactly
that's
what
one
it
of the
was.
things, and one of the problems I'll have with a lot of these, with
Yin Yang.
RRR and Yin Yang, is that it's a different mindset than mine. It's a different way of telling a story
Yeah.
than I
Very
am
much
used
so.
to and that I
Yeah.
was raised on. So some of the time I get lost, and at this age when I get lost, but,
That's your body saying, don't waste your time. Don't waste
or
your
actually
time.
no, the way it's not actually like that. It's like
Yeah.
It's like the computer. So you get
I
the,
want to see this. I want to see this. I want to see what's going on.
it's like the computer. You get the beach ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Or a
does the
pinwheel. I
beach
call
ball-
it a pinwheel.
Does the beach ball even exists
Yeah,
anymore.
right.
Oh, it does. Believe me, I just got a new iMac. It exists.
No.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Anyway. Yeah, right.
Anyway, yeah. So it's like I admire it, but I hardly feel qualified to even give it a rating because I just was out for so much of it.
Okay.
Oh wow.
At least you're
Go
being
ahead.
honest.
Yeah, I love this movie. I thought it was a Oscar caliber kind of movie. It reminded me of times the feel of like the piano.
Yeah, you
and
said that.
and the different stories also like you say Hero or The Last Jewel, where you see the different perspectives. The first when it started, I thought, oh, this is another Parasite idea movie.
Yeah.
We're gonna go in there
Yes.
and take over kind
Yes.
of thing.
God, I
Yes.
hate that movie.
And so love that movie. So it's very erotic. I mean it's really delves into the whole eroticism because the guy sells novels and he does a thing where he has she's
His
his
grand-
whatever she is. He reads these novels to prospective buyers and they're
It's
gonna
like
buy the
his
novels.
granddaughter,
Yeah.
but not like a granddaughter.
So I guess
through-
so I guess in
Niece, I
those
thought.
so in those
maybe
niece.
niece. Yeah.
so in those times, I guess he reads the novels. She read the novels to prospective buyers and maybe bid on it. Like before we show a painting.
But that's kind of but that's kind of a surprise because we always know she's exhausted from these readings.
But also
and
he
they-
also has special effects, like you have mannequins and everything.
right.
And it's funny because the guys are listening, they're like sweating and they're like it's so funny because they do like
well, it's kind of like 19th
pervs,
century
Sue. They're pervs.
19th century pornography.
yeah, exactly. So
if you like.
and I thought the movie at times did border a bit on pornography, but in a way it is kind of about pornography because it is
Yes.
a novel.
Yes. Oh, very much so.
So
yeah.
and it's very artistic. In fact, I think that, at times I thought
Not to give anything away or anything.
yeah,
I thought
but-
it was more. I would definitely use the term erotic more than pornographic for that.
it's very erotic and very artistic too. It's a very artistic movie.
But I think
It's
it's
like
the
a-
time, the Asian, and also the time makes it what you would call erotic. But in
What's the
that
difference?
time, it would have been pornography.
And you see a lot of times there's all Japanese paintings that
Right.
they're very erotic. You know, there's a lot of
Continue, George.
so you see in the museum. So that to me, the movie is almost like one of those old Japanese paintings, those erotic
Right.
paintings that they have. It kind of like describes the movie. I thought, I mean, I just the whole. There's a twist, the time period, the cinematography. It's just
Cinematography.
I love that. I thought it was a great movie. I thought this movie should have been like those movies. Like I can think of like the piano. I put it in that caliber. Anyways, that's me.
Well,
Yeah, and it's funny. This was my favorite movie out of all of them, and I still couldn't watch it in one sitting because I will tell you this right now.
But you have to cool off.
No,
You have to wake up.
the Park Chan-wook. I watched Old Boy, and then I saw Lady Vengeance, and after the two, I said I really can't watch his movies. They're like too intense, too violent.
this
And
movie-
psychologically,
No, his other movies. His other
really
well, it's
heavy.
a psychological thriller.
So when Susie picked this movie, I didn't realize who the director was, and literally within the first half hour, I said, "Who directed this?" I looked it up. It's like, "Oh no, no wonder," because again, I agree. I really think this guy is probably one of Korea's greatest cinema geniuses.
yeah, I agree.
My thing is he's way too intense, way too psychological. I almost feel like I'm being psychologically damaged when I watch his films because they truly speak a reality. And as I think I mentioned before, which will give away things because, as I said, Asians, there's a thing about family and there's a thing about revenge. And it's always very thematic in their stuff. This guy takes it way to another level, in my opinion. In fact, if you're non-Asian and you know this, there's an author by the name of Ian McEwan.
Right.
Oh, sure.
He does the same kind of psychological kind of things.
Yeah.
What
What
kind of
made
movie?
me laugh, or I shouldn't say laugh, but I took upset, was what you had said about it being based on the Victorian novel.
Well, that's what I think so
To
funny.
which
Yes.
I agree because, see, that was a thing in the Victorian era that their pornography, and I would call it pornography, since they were so uptight about
Repressed.
sex, that they had underground sex clubs, et cetera, to the extreme, which you wouldn't even think would happen at that time point, right? Same thing happens with the Japanese. They are so sexually repressed. In fact, I still think today, if I'm not mistaken, if you buy a Playboy, they will still black out the genitalia on females because you're not supposed to show that in public.
but not on
somehow.
men.
No, and men too. I think
They
the last
pixelated in movies.
the last time I heard like the Robert Mapplethorpe when he did his photography exhibit,
Right.
they blackened out all genitalia and all the pictures, right?
Oh.
So I think that's the mentality. So Japanese also have, which is why when you do watch manga or the stuff, they are so extreme in their
Hidden world.
right about showing that kind of
The
and
sexuality.
not so much eroticism, but true. I think it comes
Porn.
down to true violence and pornography, both of them, right? And this guy does it better than anyone else I
To
think
me,
I've ever seen. You know?
I'm not into pornography,
Right.
but I thought he made the pornography beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
artistic.
did. Not that.
I
arena.
didn't find the quote unquote because to me the pornography wasn't even sort of there cinematically. It was only done through the pictures, which you see a certain reaction to.
Right.
What I was surprised about is how much I was sympathetic with what Bob had said about the Handmaiden. Let's see, I was going to say her name because I thought she was very good. Yeah, the Kim Tae-ri. She I thought was excellent.
Which
she
one?
was the reason.
She was the handmaiden.
She was the reason I really watched the movie because, like you said, the different levels of her character.
Right.
You know her as one thing, and you see what's going on, but it's her character that remains true from beginning to end. It's the other characters that you see. Okay, there's a little devious there. There you don't know about the other characters, and then things are starting to be revealed because
Gracias.
the lady, quote unquote, her name, the lady Hideko, and then the uncle. These are characters I thought, okay, you think one thing, but then you really, as it goes along, that's what I'm saying. You get the worst and the worst. You sort of know the count's already sort of a horrible person because how
Right.
he wants to manipulate the woman, right, to
But
get
they
married.
also both want her fortune. Hideko
Exactly, and the uncle, right?
Yes.
So that's why I think, okay, like you said, there comes the masculine and the feminine part of it as well. And it sort of is, as it goes along, I said, oh, it seems at least this one seemed to have an appropriate ending for my taste in
Yes.
general.
It had an
Which
happy
sometimes they don't quite have.
Yes, yes, I agree.
So
Well, one of the things when talking about that particular character, to Hideko, I think is the handmaiden.
Lady Hideko is the woman,
Oh, sorry,
and then the maid or handmaiden, Namsuki.
Namsuki, okay.
Namsuki.
Even once you get the turnaround early on and find out what's going on with her, you still like her. She's so much fun.
No.
She's enjoying herself.
No, that's I'm saying that
You know, fun
because
seems to be in your
she's
teamwork,
remaining
Andrew.
truly.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
In fact, there's a sequence at one point where she can't read, and Lady
Right.
Hideko literally passes a note to her. She sort of makes a story and then admits all of a sudden she gets caught out. I can't read, and Lady Hideko just looks at her and says, "Just don't lie to me again." And seemingly, she takes that to heart.
Right.
She says, I won't, in a way.
Right.
Even though she has this one sort of major secret that she
Right.
has not revealed yet. So as the movie, I thought, see, she's still remaining to her character, that she's become sort of loyal to Lady Hideko at one point. It's like, this is sort of fascinating. So I have to admit, I actually thought this was an intriguing movie. Like I said, I find it hard to watch his movies because they get a little too intense.
I would
for
say
me.
a good description for you is you were psychologically raped when you watch those movies.
Basically, that's what I mean.
Psychologically raped.
Basically, that's what I mean because
You're a gentle soul, man.
his movies are so realistic. And my thing is, and when I watch his movie, I know there are people exactly like this.
Yes.
It's not like this is false.
Right.
Yet it's so well presented that it's like, see, that reality's really. I watch, like you said, Bob. I watch movies. This is my escapism.
Me too.
I want to be entertained.
Me too.
I'm watching this like, okay, it's intriguing, it's provocative, it's not entertaining me, it's making me feel uncomfortable. And that's why I said, okay, I turned off. And yet I was riveted by what I was watching. So by the second half, I was actually sort of pleasantly surprised about how everything came out. And I mean everything, how
Right.
everything came out. Everything was like, wow, even he surprised me with that ending. So I highly recommend this movie.
I want to just to make sure I'm clarifying this. It's not that I go to the movies for entertainment, or it's not that I went to the movies for entertainment. I went to them to find out what life was all about, because as I said, I had no guidance at home. So it wasn't
I
just
think we all did that.
Well,
Well, for me, it was like it was a substitute for a father. So I had like no actual live male guidance at that point.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I get my ideas from what movies were like in the 40s and 50s, or actually in the 50s, would have been the early 50s, which is not the best time to judge masculine behavior.
exactly.
But to keep you in survival mode, it's funny because I went to the movies. I remember, who do I want to emulate? Because we had the same kind of home life where it was both parents, unfortunately, where you couldn't go to them for guidance. So the movies were like that for me. Who do I want to emulate?
You know what? When I saw, when the first time I saw The Magnificent Seven,
That was a great movie.
I came out of that movie trying to walk like James Coburn. When I saw Yojimbo, I came out of that trying to walk like a Toshiro Mifune. You know, it was like, it was something about the walk, the way these guys walked was just so cool or something like that. And
Yeah.
I wanted something that I could do that would make me, that
You
would
could
connect me
physically
there.
apply to yourself.
Yeah.
I watched Children of the Damned. Do you remember that?
Children of the Damned
And
was
I believe
fantastic.
100%. It must have been grade three.
Village of the Dam.
Village of
The
the
Children
Village
of the
Damned.
Damned is the sequel.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they had a
Village
sequel.
of the Dam. Yeah.
No,
When
Village of
I
the Damned.
watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm kicking everybody's ass.
I actually believed, and I remember convincing a couple of my friends that we could mind control people to do things like somebody walk up and talk to us. And before that, I'd go, let's make them go away. Let's make them go away. Well, of course, if you're not talking back to them, they're going to go away. But we were convinced that we had that power.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of tough when you to imitate the walk when you go see something like My Left Foot
Yeah.
or Theory of Everything.
But anyway, Patty, what did you think of the movie?
I actually liked the movie. I thought it was interesting because I love movies that have different stories that become one. Do you know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
what it did. It was different stories that became one and they became clear. Why they wanted that guy as a husband is beyond me. The guy was a friggin' jerk. I mean, he was an idiot, and most women would catch on to that very early. I don't care what nationality you are. It was very interesting. I like that they were all thieves.
Well, the focus wasn't on him from them. The focus was on each
It
other.
had nothing to do with him. Absolutely. I thought, now the part that you taught that made you uncomfortable, you know, when she's reading the porn, and it is porn. I'm sorry, it's not, I don't know.
Oh, not even that part.
I don't even know the line between, what is the other word you use? Porn
Erotic.
and
Erotic.
Erotic
Yeah.
is porn. And that's not a bad thing.
In
It's
that
just what
time,
it is.
it was porn. It would be erotica now. It was
No, I'm
porn
saying
then.
in life, I really don't know the difference. What you call it, it was porn. And watching the men's faces, that was reality then, now, and in the future. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
because they
I
sort of
agree.
fit the time
I
period.
thoroughly
They
agree.
made it look
Yeah.
like an ugly thing,
But
which
I
I didn't
actually-
like that at
I
first.
actually thought the guys were kind of sweet. They were
didn't
like
think
they were kind of.
Showing their basic self.
I actually thought they were kind of.
And you know
sweet.
the scene where her tooth is bugging her, so she's
Right.
sanding it off. You know what that
Oh,
scene
yeah,
reminded
yeah,
me
yeah.
of?
Right.
The 40-year-old version movie, when they're in the theater and the two girls look at each other.
Yes.
That was the moment. I think
Yes.
this movie, that was the moment in this movie
Yes.
where she felt something. Like that movie, that was the moment where you see
Oh,
that they feel
yes.
something.
But you know,
Yes.
that part where,
Yes.
where and it is an uncomfortable part, but it's unfair to judge men on that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But they made it look as what it was: raw, succulent, and that's what it is.
And that was
very-
the pornography of the
especially
time.
raw.
But
It's
I-
relative to the time, yeah.
But
Okay.
also too, even now,
But I
those
thi-
things are those desires are hidden.
But I-
and it showed a raw reality that most movies don't show us see.
Well,
so I like that part.
I thought it was actually quite revolutionary because, you know, sexuality for a woman is different than
Very different.
sexuality for a
and the movie
man.
shows you
But
that.
they made
And that's what they were showing.
yes, but they
me.
made the male one look bad.
Well,
And
the very
it's
one is
not.
always
only
bad.
bad. Only bad if you bad is relative.
Exactly,
You know what I
yes.
mean? Bad is relative.
Well, it didn't
It's-
look appealing
it
as
didn't-
something you'd want to
because
jump
you're
into.
a woman.
Yeah, that's true.
That you're a woman.
Right.
But for men, and I thought the movie was very brave this way. It was showing it's a very different thing for
Right.
man.
Right.
That's where Pan's Labyrinth came in. The strength of women
Right.
and the kind of the old religion and the old like whatever, and then that it was so different. I didn't see it as bad. I saw it as different.
You see,
Well, the movie
right
shows
now
you-
in the movies, I'm finding all this, women's strength, blah 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 blah.
But unless
I've
you-
never known women not to be strong, and it's like it's a new reverence. Like
Yeah,
all
I
of a
know.
sudden we
I
just
know.
see it.
I
It makes me
know.
want to puke. It really does. It's like,
But
come
what's-
on, this has happened.
I have to say this is
Nobody's
what Patty is
noticed
saying
this?
is very true. It's like as the oldest daughter of a family, I was actually had to babysit a lot. That's how I earned money, and we come from a very
Traditional
French.
family.
So people had huge families. So I obviously had a lot of work
Yeah.
all the time, right?
It's the way we made
I was,
money.
I was cheap labor, but anyways, it's true. It's what you were saying. Is
Which part?
that you were just saying that
The strength of
the
woman.
feminine.
But you say
Yeah.
the strength of woman is not Wonder Woman.
Well, no.
It's like they're
but-
making it like a new thing or
But yeah,
something.
it's not new. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always been
it's
around.
not new.
Yeah.
It's like okay, we.
And it's really getting on my nerves.
No,
Well,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, with this stuff with the movies now, it's like why is the image that a woman is strong if she behaves like a man?
Right.
I mean, what the fuck?
Exactly.
You want to make a movie about how strong women are? Call it 9 months.
You just took that out of my mouth. It's exactly. It's like women were defined by biology. Actually, it's like if you were a grown-up person and you had sex with somebody, which you probably would because you're a grown-up person, it's like you have a possibility as a woman to have a child. And if you're married and there's no birth control, because there wasn't up until 1960,
70s,
you know,
babe.
you were defined, but no, 60. That's
70s.
No, 1960
No, there was
is when
birth
the
control
birth
in the
control
60s.
was. Yeah, yes.
There was definitely birth control in the 60s. That's
Yeah.
when I lost my virginity.
that's when they-
and my
that's
girlfriend
when
was on
they-
the pill.
You slut.
That's when they created the birth control. There was no
I thought it was
birth
70s.
control pill until that time.
I thought it was
Well, there were
70s.
diaphragms before
so-
then, but you know.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
who
but
does that?
diaphragms? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
But anyways,
but-
getting back to women's
No,
strength
but
thing.
my point is that women got pregnant if they had sex. So it was like that.
That's what they made sure nobody touches the princess until the destined king.
You brought it right around.
Susie, it was
to the-
That's right.
1950.
Yes.
Nobody
I
touches
know.
Miss
But no,
Yeah,
Targaryen.
Margaret Sanger.
But let's just say that women that's what started
didn't
the
know that.
sexual revolution. Hello.
I know, but you know what? Getting back to the movie, it's
But
like
that wasn't really an option to women before.
right.
So they didn't really have that option.
And,
so
and
if-
men didn't know women liked sex.
But
You know what I
let-
mean? At
let's
that
put it
point.
no, I disagree with that. Anybody had a wife probably knows she did or she didn't.
What?
But a lot of
Like
times
sex.
women
Oh,
did not want to get pregnant
Right.
with their 10th
But you know
child.
what? But back to the, but also back to the movie. In a way,
Yeah, I was trying to get
at
back
that
to
time
the
it
movie.
showed you what men found exciting in sex as opposed to what women found exciting
Yeah,
in sex.
absolutely.
The movie showed you that.
And they
No.
made it very raw, which
And they made-
I appreciated.
But one thing they did is they, in a way, they kind of made the men part cartoonish.
Yeah, right.
Whereas the woman part, they made it very artistic.
Yeah, that's true. Which is
Oh,
kind
that's
of
a good
unfair.
point. That's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought was kind of unfair, but true.
But it's
And
true, yes.
it's just different. It's just
Bunch of
different
wolves.
vibes.
Well, the
that's all.
consequence for man having sex, like I
different.
say, sperm is cheap, egg is expensive.
Right.
You know, it's like what the consequences of that interaction is much different for women than it is for men.
You see, this Roe versus Wade thing. If women stopped having sex, everybody in America,
Well, with
they would change it back like that.
No,
Lysistrata.
the human race would die out.
Lysistrata.
What?
Lysistrata.
What's that mean?
Lysistrata
old
was
story.
the Greek
Greek
story
tale.
about the women who said, as long as you guys are going off to war, we're not going to give you any
Right.
sex.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Sparta.
Yeah, right, right,
all
right.
these territories.
You see, if women
Yeah.
could,
But that's
got
all right.
that.
Men just find other men.
Nah, a lot of them would.
Yeah, they
well,
did.
Not the
Not
Midwest.
Liz Estrada.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Part
what
of the
else
men, some of those men actually found women every now and then.
Yeah. So what I liked about this movie was also too is I thought it was going to go one way, and then I love when it does this because I'm always thinking, and I wish I didn't, that okay, this is where it's going, blah blah blah. This is what's going to happen. It would take off in another direction.
Yeah.
But
one of the movies had that. They had a twist. They had a twist.
Yeah, a lot of
Except for
twists.
the,
Puritan, I knew
spoiler
the
one,
twist
because we
at
know
the
what it's
beginning.
gonna-
Right.
The beginning, I knew the twist. And
one?
the other ones, I knew the
Oh.
twist. Except,
Okay.
but I thought
Even
the
RRR.
RRR, I gotta say, was great because it held back showing
The
the
reveal.
commander.
The
yeah,
reveal, right.
the reveal. And it would have been a lot easier if they just both came out and just said what was going on.
Okay,
But of course, good movie never does
so
that.
I'm going to end this. So, Bob?
We're on Handmaiden.
Yes.
Yeah, Joe. Bob.
5 with an option to 7 because I fell
What did you
asleep.
just say?
Somewhere between a
Five with
5
an
and a
option.
7.
Well, 5
one,
for what I
Bobby.
saw, 7 for what I think I might have missed.
Okay. Okay.
This movie's a 10.
Yeah. I gave it a 7.
I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
What? You know, I gave it a 10. It's like, it,
That's a high.
not that it was as good, but it was there in the ballpark with my 3 favorite movies, which were
Yeah, I know. We know.
Pan's
He just sold
Labyrinth,
us.
Labyrinth.
like water for
Chocolate,
chocolate.
yeah.
Tortilla Heaven? Oh, no.
And
The Pan's Labyrinth and what is my
It
favorite?
was
Here's
Pan's
the-
Labyrinth, the Water
Water
for
chocolate.
and
Hero?
there's another movie.
Hero.
Hero. There we go.
Hero.
Okay,
yeah.
wrap it up, Sue.
Movies. So that is the end of our podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember to subscribe and like. And so we'll get you next week.
Give us
The next
suggestions.
time-
Yes, leave us a comment, please.
But yes,
And-
and the next time will be our Halloween special.
That's right. Halloween movies, Halloween customs.
Yeah.
Okay, so enjoy these movies. Check them out. Leave us a comment on if you liked them or you didn't like them.
Screw you if you didn't like them.
Anyway, yeah. So next time.
Bye bye.
Adios.
Bye bye.
So long. Yeah.
But